Welcome to Mind and Movement, getting smart about how you move. I'm Hazel. Thank you so much for joining me for Coffee and Move number 30. Cheers to everyone here in New Zealand and around the world. We have one more week of level 4 and then 2 more weeks of level 3, which means that I'll be with you for another 3 weeks, which is very exciting. We're going to do some movements today for the hands. So hands tend to be really stiff and tight because we spend a lot of time in this position, typing, gripping bike handles, gripping car stereos, so we lose that full extension. And a lot of that tension ends up in our shoulder because we have lines of connective tissue, aka the arm lines. We have the superficial front arm line, the deep front arm line, we have the superficial back arm line and the deep back arm line. And these transmit basically tension from one area to another. That's a weird way of saying it. But basically if you've got tension in your hands, it ends up restricting the way your shoulder can move. So many of us spend a lot of time in internal rotation with the humerus bone, this bone as well. So today we're going to do some opening up of the hands and fingers with our humerus in neutral, which means that the elbow pit is going to be facing forward. It's not going to be facing in towards my body, it's going to be facing forward. So the first one we'll do is just some simple finger stretches. So I'm going to extend at the wrist and then gently pull my finger back. And make sure that your fingers aren't bent when you're pulling them back. They want to be straight and slightly bending back the other way, but you do not want to have bends in them. So I'm really working here to reach my thumb away. My thumb wants to just relax, but I'm reaching it away to get a stretch through the palm of my hand as well. And I'm just going to spend a little bit of time on each finger here, making sure that I keep that extension in the wrist. So from the side, I'm not like this, I'm extending at the wrist. That just helps me to get more of that stretch up into my forearm, past my wrist. Oh, this finger's tight, so reaching that hand, so that thumb away, those fingers away, and pulling that finger back. So if you've got shoulder tension or pain in your shoulders, I really love to help clients by easing the tension, starting with the hand and moving up the arm, because as we reduce the tension in the hand, the tension in the shoulder will change. So we can start working on the shoulder without working on the shoulder when the shoulder is really sore and tight. So if you're having sore shoulders because of sitting, typing, more time sitting in lockdown, I'm not sure, whatever your situation is, I'm just going to change the way I'm sitting here to get in some more hip movement. If you're getting sore shoulders, start by doing these exercises, and doing these hand exercises on a daily basis is really good for your hands. And think about ways that you can spend less time in those, shortened hand positions. So can you walk more than riding your bike? Can you spend less time on your keyboard? Can you get an app that dictates your voice so you don't have to type? Can you do, just think, what can I do to help my hands out? And of course we want to have grip strength. So hanging, swinging, climbing, those things are really, really important for the health of our shoulders and arms. And perhaps one of the main reasons that our spines are falling forward is because those arm lines that attach up into the thoracic spine aren't being used, therefore we get that forward head and that collapsed spine. So the tension created by the use of our arms is actually holding up our spine. So we want to create tension, the right kind of tension in those muscles by using them. And we don't use our arms much. So again, reaching that thumb away, reaching those fingers away, getting a really nice stretch through the hand. Okay, so just open and close those hands. I'm just going to put my hands on the ground now and really spread them. So my thumb and my middle finger there, I'm trying to get them at 90 degrees and my hands flat on the ground. Then I'm just going to come into a neutral elbow pit. So see, I'm going from that internally rotated position to bringing my elbow pits forward, so they're facing forward, and then I'm going to put a micro bend in my elbows. So just play with that, getting those hands flat on the ground. If you can't get them flat on the ground, load with your other hand, just spend some time pushing down into the ground there. Okay, the next one we're going to do is reverse prayer hands. So you're going to take your prayer hands and reverse them. So those thumbs are touching, then you're going to drop those hands down. You're going to make sure that your shoulders are up. So take those shoulder blades down your back, not back and down, just down. Back and down is, I believe, a bad way of talking about the scapulars, because they're getting, well, yeah, we'll get into that another day. So this is the reverse prayer hands. Again, I'm just going to change the position I'm sitting in, because I'm also doing side sit, which is a mobility exercise for the hips. So I'm just going to change back onto the other side now. You could change into cross-legged position, legs up front, whatever's comfortable for you. Okay, and the next one we're going to do is the fist stretch. So take a bit of time, move your wrists. Bring those fists, now you're going to make really tight fists, and you're going to put your thumb on the outside of that fist to make a really tight fist. Bring those fists together, and then you're going to drop the backs of those hands together, and then make sure you're not doing this, drop those shoulders down, and you'll feel a lovely stretch through your forearms. Really hold on to that fist. You'll notice you probably want to let it go a little bit, and if you do let go of your fingers, see I've just let go of my index finger, the stretch pretty much disappears, so don't let go of those fingers. This is the fist stretch. You can take them from side to side a little bit. And the other thing that you can play around with is getting a bit of a natural surface under your hand. So I've got a couple of stones, small stones, and I'm just going to load, much like we do the foot mobilization with a stone. So I'm just going to think about having my hand on that with my humerus in neutral, and just bringing some loads into the hand. We just interact with flat surfaces all the time in our Western culture, and they are really unnatural. I mean, imagine hanging out in a natural environment, how there are just no flat surfaces, and we have to interact with things like tree branches and stones and uneven turf and mud, and all of these things bring texture to our skin, texture to our hands, texture to any surface they touch, basically. Oh, and that bit there, the hypothena eminence, so that bulgy bit at the base of my thumb there, it's a little bit sore in there. So I'm just spending some time massaging my hands, basically. Oh, yeah, in there. There's a good little spot on my right hand. And what do I do with my right hand all the time? Is text. I don't do it all the time, but I'm pretty much blaming my tension in my right thumb right now on texting. Texting a little bit more than normal at the moment, because we can't see people, we can text them and call them, and all the wonderful things that we can do with technology. Oof. Yeah, love it. Okay, rub your hands together. Some nice warmth into them. It's starting to cool down. And love your hands. Have an awesome day. I look forward to hanging out with you for the next 3 weeks that we are in level 4 and level 3 here in New Zealand. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you taking the time to move your body. See you tomorrow.